So we're back, and it's time for your Political Maniacs Take 2. This is the part of the show where we tell you about your political maniacs. Usually, it's the only secret they keep from me here on the show, but it's not a secret tonight because I'm the only person hosting the show, so I know what the secret is. This one comes from us out of Georgia. So if you want this political maniac, you can vote with hashtag Georgia. So this one, a member of the Georgia House of Representatives issued a veiled threat of lynching to a black former colleague who expressed anti-Confederate memorial sentiments on his Facebook. According to the Atlanta Constitutional Journal, Georgia State Representative Jason Spencer did exactly that on Facebook, on a Facebook post when a former Representative LaDawn Johnson expressed a distaste for a photo he took with a Confederate monument. So he was in South Georgia. He took a selfie with a Jefferson Davis statue. I'm not really sure why you would take a selfie with a Jefferson Davis statue, but I digress. And so she sort of said in one of her posts, she was like, well, I'm not sure who's paying for this, but I hope Georgia taxpayer dollars aren't going to pay for the upkeep and maintenance of this Jefferson Davis statue or the house in which Jefferson Davis fled to at the end of the Civil War. And basically, Mr. Spencer responded to her by saying, oh, this is our heritage. This is Georgia history. What are you talking about? And then she responded by like, you can continue your journey through Georgia. And, he said, this is the truth, not a warning. These folks won't put up with it, put up with your verbiage or you sort of talking bad about our history like they do in Atlanta. And it went on and on and on from there. And then he ends by saying that you will go missing in the swamp. There's too many necks that are red around here. Don't say I didn't warn you about them. So basically, what Georgia State Representative Jason Spencer said to LaDawn Johnson, former state representative, like, if you keep talking in this manner, you're going to die. In a nutshell. Yeah, you're going to die. You're going to get lynched, and you're going to die. And this takes us sort of back to where we started this whole debacle, to Charlottesville. Now, people said, like, and I explained this, I did a segment with Bill Hemmer on the Fox News channel, and I sort of tried to break this down in morsels for folks to understand why people were so angry at the president for getting Charlottesville wrong. And it has less to, let me be very clear, don't get me wrong. The young woman who died on Saturday night because of the KKK and the neo-Nazis is heartrending, right? And she died because of hatred, and she died because of racism, and she died because of bigotry. But these neo-Nazis and these KKK individuals, right, and the alt-right, their behavior and their antics, the worst of it, in my humble opinion, was Friday night. When they engaged in this, when they got their tiki torches from Lowe's or Home Depot, and they decided to walk down an American street, 400 of them, carrying torches, yelling, blood and soil, the Jews will not overtake us, Enners must die. That language, those torches, and what they symbolize in America, that is why African Americans, and that's why so many Americans are angry. And let me explain to you why. So in the 1930s, well, let's go back further than that. So the KKK has been killing black folks since they've been in the business of killing black folks since 1865, okay? That's their business, of killing and terrorizing black people since 1865. So don't let them fool you. They could change their name, they can go to Brooks Brothers, and they could buy the best polos that the US dollar can buy, right? They could go and they could buy the best khakis. They could have purple label Ralph Lauren khakis on. They're still the KKK. They can change their name to the alt-right, and they're still the KKK. Very clear, right? But those tiki torches and what they mean and what they represent is death for African Americans, right? And when you talk to older black folk who grew up in the civil rights movement, who grew up in the 30s and the 40s in the South here in the United States of America, they will tell you, when you saw those torches, that meant that a brother who looked just like me, looked like my brother, looked like my father, looked like my sister, looked like my cousins, was going to get dragged out of his bed, right? He was going to get hung. He was going to get lynched. He was going to get castrated. He was going to get beaten for no reason in particular. That's what that meant. There was going to be a cross burnt in his yard. It was to invoke fear. And back then, at least at minimum, right, they had the decency to cover their faces so you couldn't see them. Now, their racism is all out and open so you could see their faces. America. And the next day, they decided to bring out the swastikas, right, and the flag saluting Hitler. And for our Jewish brothers and sisters, what that represents is gas chambers. That represents Hitler's cruelty. So when the president comes out there, when people like, you know, Georgia State Representative Jason Spencer says you're going to get lynched, it's not a veiled threat. It's not like, oh, he's playing around. Oh, he's playing. He's not, I mean, who knows? Because 2 weeks ago, we saw 400 of them walking down an American street with torches. Right? On Saturday, we saw one of them get in a car and plow through a crowd of people. Right? And so I get it. People want the left to condemn Antifa. Okay. Antifa is violent. They're sick. They're disgusting. They're immoral. And they're reprehensible. But there's the blood on Antifa's hands, minuscule. One drop of blood on Antifa's hands. The blood on the Nazis' hands, I mean, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 million. The blood on the KKK's hands, I mean, that number, that might be in billions at this rate. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't even put those two on the same scale. Will I condemn Antifa? You're damn right I will. But you can't even compare Antifa to the KKK. They're not even on the same plateau. That's like comparing the U.S. military strength to the strength of the military of Djibouti. You can't put them on the same scale. The KKK's terror, the terror that they rained down on black people since 1865, right? And the terror that this guy, Representative Jason Spencer, is trying to rain down on his former colleague is of epic proportion compared to what Antifa does. Let's just be real about it.